There are a lot of people that are not doing well. People are tired of being told that they have no control over the outcome of their lives and no control over their relationships. Because when you tell people it's not your fault this happened to you and it's okay that you're this way, which it is, I think people don't want to stay there anymore. And so people look to, I don't have to be weak all the time. You can have a weak moment. It's not the same thing with feeling fundamentally weak or insecure all the time. Looking at a moment or a situation and saying, I'm this way now because of all these things that happened for a while, that worked. It's like, it's not your fault you're like this. Now this happened to you here. It's not your fault that you don't trust people. This happened to you here. Because that theme's been going on for so long, what it does is it renders you powerless. It's saying you're this way because of all this other stuff, and it's not your fault. And that translates to, I have no power over it. I'm a result of what's happened to me. And that's a powerless state to be. All it does is keep suppressing you down. So you just stay there instead of saying, it happened to you. Okay, now where do we go from here? You are very well capable. And most people are. They just don't know how to trust themselves. I don't understand why we have to psychoanalyze everything we do. I feel we waste so much time in trying to figure out, I'm like this today because of this, this, and this. Sometimes I have found there's no clear reason why. There's nothing to make sense of. Even sometimes when people try to assess, like, why does this person treat me this way? Why that? What did I do? Why this? Sometimes there are reasons. And sometimes that person's just an asshole. There's nothing to analyze. There's nothing to figure out. There's nothing to dive deep on. That person, you just happen to fall on an asshole. And that's okay. Let's move on. So there's moments where that exists too, but I feel like we try so hard to figure it out that we do more damage. Your brain is like a bathtub. Your cognitive load is like a bathtub. Think of this as a bathtub. If you have a bathtub, the bathtub can only hold so much water. If you keep putting water in the bathtub, right? It's going to overflow. That's your cognitive load. So if I have my cognitive load in my bathtub and I keep putting water, it's going to overflow. It's the same thing when you put stuff in there. I'm going to add more stuff and more stuff and more stuff. Your cognitive load is overflowing. It's maxed. You're inefficient. You're sloppy. You're not getting things done right. If you are, you're just barely getting there. You're everywhere. You're stressed out. You're frazzled because you're maxed out. You're beyond maxed out. So everything I do, I keep my load light. My bathtub only holds the water it needs to hold in. So it protects you from overextending yourself, stressing yourself, and it also keeps you from making bad decisions. You make good decisions. There's something called decision fatigue, where the more stuff I add, we think the busier I am, the better I am. I'm moving, I'm hustling, I'm doing all this stuff. Look how maxed out I am. Just because you're busy, it doesn't mean you're being productive. Those two things are not synonymous. So often people think, leaders keep adding. No, you know what good leaders do? They take out of that bathtub. They take out. What can I do less of so I can be exceptional at the other things I do? Lighten your bathtub. So when you're overthinking and overanalyzing and trying to process all this stuff, you are maxing out that bathtub. So how can you perform? You don't have infinite resources. You do not have an infinite cognitive load, and you do not have an infinite emotional load. Don't keep adding. Your job is to take out so that the things you do exceptionally well. And you're much more emotionally stable.